It is 9:02. Happy New Year, everyone. Once again, hope everyone has had a good break, got some relaxation, ready to come back, ready to be creative, be in lost my train of thought back there. Sorry about that. But ready for a new year, ready to try some different things, and then to improve on our program services for our students. So, uh, not a long agenda today, but a kind of interesting one, I would probably admit. We are Today. I am really going to just kind of go over some general information, some things that you might want to consider on. I'm just calling them clarifications. I do not have any, but based on some of the general questions that have came in to my inbox over the last month or so, just really some things that you might want to look at clarifying, and there's just some general questions that's always been coming up, and then we will have our conversation on grouping, and then if you have any shout outs or resources, have some of those to share out also. As you know, I always started this year kind of giving you a little bit more info on what does our COVID numbers look like, since we've been starting reporting as an agency these numbers to the districts, districts reporting and sharing their numbers. I just wanted you to be kind of aware. So really, when you look at our numbers, copy the right thing. I did not copy the right thing. I am so sorry. So the link is correct. I did not copy the right thing. I copied over the wrong, the same one. The numbers did go up about 10,000 numbers, about 10,000. So it was another spike up. And so I will update this and put it on the web when I publish this, but the link does work correctly. And then I will give you the link in your email in the chat. Let me update here. And beauty of being on your own computer. So those are the numbers, as I said. Well, our student numbers only went up to about 35,000, and then, but our staff, your co-workers. So as you see, we are I'm making a nice little M or a big W, upside down W here of what our numbers are looking like as we go forth. So I'm asking that you continue to stay safe, continue to be careful out there as we go forth. And in our systems. Make sure I open everyone. And so this is our opportunity for a wellness check. Drop in the chat how you're doing, how is your district, or how, I know from listening to the news, some districts have actually postponed the start to next week. Some are coming back slowly but surely this week. Send me a question. I'm not seeing it. Will it be closed captioning? Oh, hold on. So let me go back. So let me stop share for a minute. And let me fix that. So hope everyone is doing well. And let me do one thing right quick.
Hey, Monica, while you pull that up, this is Paulina with TAGT, Texas Association for Gifted and Talented. I saw a question on leadership conference, and I was gonna message you and ask if I could have a couple minutes. Do you mind if I give everybody an update real quick?
Take it now.
Awesome. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. It's exciting to see your faces again. I love it when you guys have your cameras on these. It's nice to talk to people. But hopefully you had a great break and were able to spend some time relaxing and with your families, albeit probably a small gathering. We're really excited about what we've got planned for the spring. So what we've done is kind of taken a step back and really thought about what are the big draws to a conference like the leadership conference. And if you're unfamiliar, it's typically about 300 of our coordinators and specialists come together to really talk about what it takes to lead a GT program, either at the campus or at the district level. It's one of our tightest knit groups. As you all know, there's not many of you that do what you do. And so when you're able to get in the same room and really learn from each other, it's really valuable. And so, creating an experience like that over 3 days virtually, we realized that none of you have 3 days to spare all in a row. And sitting in your office, you probably wouldn't have the opportunity to really engage the way that you want. And so what we've done is we're scheduling, we'll get these dates out hopefully by the end of the week for 4-hour half days across the whole spring semester. And those would be in March, April, May, and June. And we'll take a topic for each one. And what's really fun about these is rather than sitting in kind of endless breakout sessions and passively receiving a lot of really great information, but we know that you had passively received a lot of information at Gift Ed. This will be a way for you all to really engage with each other. And the goal is for you to walk away from each of these 4-hour sessions with something kind of produced. And so we want to check some things off your list. So our March event will be focused on virtual identification. We'll have roundtables with all of the assessments available to ask questions. We're going to put you in cohorts. So you'll have a group of 6 to 8 folks that you will stay with during all of these cohorts and really build some relationships, and hopefully you'll have the opportunity to decide whether you want to work with people in your area or if you want to branch out and find a new kind of community of people. We'll have some experts speak, but a lot of that will be available before the event. And if you were able to join us for Gift Ed and come to the exhibit hall, we used a program called Remo, which was all the little chairs everywhere, and you got to bounce around and visit with exhibitors, and that will be the platform we'll use for this. And so you'll have the opportunity to bounce around and talk to a lot of different people. The April event will likely be around coaching and collaborating, and that will focus on everything from helping your teachers with DNC and curriculum building and lesson planning and all of that stuff, to kind of collaborating with other departments in your district. May will be on outcomes and leverage, and we'll really be talking about storytelling and kind of how are we telling the story of your programs and the effects that it are having on the students. And then June will focus, and June may be a little bit longer since hopefully we're all done with school by mid-June. Will be a little bit longer, and that will be focused on equity, which is a big broad topic. We have a steering committee really working to hammer out a lot of the details on this programming. But the idea is it's going to be highly interactive, highly engaging. We're going to ask you to take those 4 hours for yourself, put your phone away, turn your email off, and really focus on building your community and learning from each other, and kind of engaging virtually in a slightly different way, but for a shorter amount of time. So you're not, like I said, trying to quote unquote take 3 days out of your district to attend the event. So more information will be coming. Like I said, hopefully by the end of this week, we'll get all that out there. But this will take place both the leadership and the Gifted Plus Equity Conference, and will likely open the June event to more people like educators who are interested in the equity issue. But this event will be really for you all as leaders in your district, so that you can kind of focus in on those issues. Can you repeat the March event? Yes, virtual identification will be the topic around March. And so keep an eye out for all of that. If you have questions, let us know. We do have a steering committee meeting tomorrow. If you're really interested in being a part of that, we might have a spot or two. Email Paulina at TX Gifted, and we'll see if we can get you on that. And otherwise, we're really looking forward to it, and hope you'll all make plans to attend and offer your knowledge to your community while you learn.
All right, thank you, Paulina. Once again, that is a great opportunity for everyone as you go forth and thinking about your own educational opportunities to grow and to build as we move forward. All right. So just wanted to remind you that the pages and the links to the documents as we go forward that are still available for your perusal. And if there's any guidance that you are seeking or needing more info on, if you would just drop, you can either put it in the chat or send me an email, and we can also build that out. And then here is for the spring 2021, getting used to stating that statement. GT Tuesday information. And so most of you have already registered for the 2 sessions. It allowed you to register for all until June. So I think I played it out till June. And then, so thank you for attending with me today. And then, as you know, well, you might not know, some of you may have not visited the page, and I think I need to put the registration there also. We did update the Gifted and Talented Education Resources page. So that has been updated. So this is the new layout. Hope that you like it. As you go in, you will find all of the one too many clicks. You will find how, if you will expand it out, you will see the presentation, any of those links that are still there, and the Zoom. So one thing we did do was move all of the video recordings to the TA YouTube page. And so all the recordings are there. There's no opportunity for them to be deleted or missed out. So you can find them there. The only one that will not be there, because that was a real short one, is our November last one, which was a Q&A, and we have basically one question. But I will put that info on the website for you. Basically, it'll just lead you back to our guidance document on pre-AP and AP and teacher differentiating instruction. So where was that guidance? And then our guidance documents are still up and available for you to review as you go forth and then needing some more clarification or guidance to share with your leadership, or you're making new decisions as we move to the next point. If you are not getting announcements, getting ready to put out our spring, starting our spring announcements and our listserv. So this is an opportunity to sign up, as I also stated earlier. A couple of ones that you might want to also consider signing up for is to the administrator addressed, and then also the AP, advanced academics incentives and their website. So there's, especially because I know a lot of you still do the secondary on pre-AP, advanced academics. So you'll have info on both sides as we go forward. As you know, we are gearing up and preparing for our legislative session. We will be in our 87th. And so at this point in time, they have pretty much had all of their elections. They have started pre-filing on November the 9th. There's several bills out there. And if you want more knowledge on how to find bills or something, let me know, and then I can include that in one of our GT Tuesdays. But then it will convene on January 12th, so that will be before our next one. The next time is March 12th, when there is the last, their deadline, their 60-day deadline to put in their bills. And then May 31st is when we are, that's the last day they can do any business. And then June 20th is the opportunity for the governor to sign or veto any bill. So this is pretty much a quick snapshot of what our season will look like and what we'll be involved in. So right now you'll see a lot of bills posted, but you will now agencies are getting into, at this point in time, doing their bill analysis and getting their plans and reviewing those bills as we go forward. And so hope you take an opportunity to look. Currently, there are no bills related to the gifted and talented. So at least no one is not a red flag for someone at this point in time. So just want to keep you updated with that. But there are a lot of bills, as you would probably consider, with virtual learning, with substitutes, and then funding, not necessarily GT funding, but looking more at funding for our virtual programs, our internet technology, and then teacher retirement and leaving due to COVID, and then certain things of that effect. And so, and then also one bill that recently came up was looking at not requiring any state required tests to be a part of promotion or graduation requirements. So those are a couple of bills that are out there under consideration. Pretty soon we'll have a more in-depth review of those and what will be coming under review. So as you know, I always like to include our state definition and what we're looking at as we go forth, and making sure that you are truly aware and how are you defining that in your district. And I think that's one of those key things that I know a lot of people just copy over what the state definition is saying, but are you actually making sure that your program services fall into those lines, into those pieces? And what does it look like in your district? So what does a student who has high capability in intellectual or creative or artistic areas, what does that look like? What are those things? How they may compare to their others of their age, of the same age, experience, or environment? What does that look like in your district as you talk about your definitions? Do you have a leadership component? If not, should it be a part of your local district definition as you probably in that? And are you looking at specific academic fields? Because I know sometimes you do break into that area at the secondary level, but sometimes your districts do not. So you're still looking at that general intellect as you go forward. So really think about what does that mean for your district and what are you looking at? And then your goals, our goals. What are we doing to, and especially in this time when you really can look at how are students doing that self-directed learning and thinking and research, because a lot of you are in that virtual world and your program services have to change as we go forward. What are those innovative products or performances that reflect their individuality and going forth, and how's it looking differently from their peers of their similar age and their environment? That's the question there. How, I know a lot of districts have really encapsulated and really defined out, they're removing services. And we know we're always the first service to walk away, that they say, let's push this to the side and we'll do something, that can be done in the regular classroom, knowing it's not going to be done in the regular classroom, the way they have it listed. But how are we pushing to make sure that that's is happening, and making sure that our students are getting there, because those are the parents who are sitting there watching. Our parents are out there concerned, they're wondering, and some of them are really reaching out to different levels and making those concerns known. So let's look at how are we doing that. And so that kind of leads to my areas of for clarification. So in your program design or in your program manuals or your guidebooks or some kind of documentation, are you really defining or on your websites or in your parent portal, especially now that we have these two realms, or some for some of you, it might be three of your in school, your virtual, or you got a blended process. What does that look like? What does program services look like for those students at this point in time? What should they be expecting? How is your program services changing? Sometimes, and I truly understand, sometimes it's out of your control on what does that look like, but update your parents on what is happening and how does that move forward. The next one is professional development. And the reason why I put this one up, because this one it really encompasses with everyone's so into the Zoom world and so into these pieces, and we're not having enough time for PD sometimes for that. But what are our requirements? So what are you looking for without, are you doing a drive for all to have their 30 hours? And when I say all, I mean all teachers. Or are you looking for those who are providing GT services? And being very clear on what does that mean? Is it for all, or is it just those per our state plan that have GT services? Really looking at what does that mean? And then what is your time frame, your timeline for PD and requirements? Are you from August to June or August to July? What does that window look like when they have to complete either their 30 hours or complete their 6-hour update? That's really a local definition, and how does that work? And then also, what is your documentation? Who's keeping that documentation? How's it being kept? And really looking at making sure that everyone knows, if you move around, you got to take it with you. It's not, you have to remind teachers and other educators that they are the main primary holder of that information. And then the next one is array of learning opportunities, especially since we moved around and changed the way things are going. What does that look like in your district? What are you doing? Is it, sample lessons? Is it more exemplars? Is it more independent research? What does that look like in your districts now that we are limited on the things that we can and cannot do? And then being just very clear on what your identification process looks like as you go forth. And then I see questions. So Samantha had a question in the chat. Has anyone finished their testing? So you'll help her out and put your information out there on the chat. And then Amber put out the link. Sure, with you. Okay. All right. And then Donna and they have completed their screening in Keller, and now they're doing their first testing window. All right. So people are moving forth with the process. But these are some of those things, if it's not clear to your educators or to your parents, that kind of leads them to start asking questions outside of your realm to other locations, and not necessarily just to me, but then also to legislators, other government, other leadership in your district. And so just kind of help yourselves out to really be clear on what does that look like? How does that work? And then where are you posting or sharing that information? Okay, and Pasadena is 95% complete. All right. All right. Kinder is done. Wow, y'all getting it done out there. So one of the questions I've received recently, and it always comes up, there are no time is on time requirements. And so there are no minimum time requirements in our state plan, in law pertaining to gifted and talented. Now, there may be local decisions on time requirements, and you may have to do a little deeper search on where is that located in your district policy? Um, Specifically, because I know with my old district, it was in another section about what the district time requirements were, which was about 45 minutes to 3 hours per week. So really look to see if somewhere in your policy there is time requirements. If not, define and state what you're looking for as a district, especially if you're changing, because if parents are expecting certain things and things change, they are reaching out to find out why and what's going on and how can they continue their services. So they're still looking for your quality services, even though some leaderships are moving around to doing different things. Work with them to help always with everything. So let's look at that. So make sure that you have it somewhere, either in your own program manual or your handbook, however you look at it, term it, and then also communicate that with your administrators, different levels of leadership, and to your parents, because those are the people that's going to ask the questions about what is your program requirements and your time allotments. All right, and so as you know, we have updated our FAQ, our guidance document, and so looking at how we define a group. So as you know, for the longest time, we defined a group as a minimum of 3 students. And then we evolved and rolled around and updated that to include, to change to a minimum of 33% or more of your DT identified students. So for our upcoming year, as we go into 2021, we're evolving once again. And our definition is moving and changing. Got all these things thinking at me. Sorry, y'all. So we're defining a group as a minimum of 4 students. So we're going up on 1. We are still keeping the language of the minimum of 33%. As you go forth in your districts, be prepared to determine what is best for your district. Are you looking at the minimum of 4, depending on what is available, or a minimum of 3? And as you have to realize, when we put these guidance pieces out, be very clear on your understanding of that. We're looking at districts from as small as 20 students to as large as 250,000 students. So we're really looking at how can these rules and guidelines work with everyone. And I want to say thank you to those who have pushed questions and put, and wondering a little bit more info on that. And as we go forward. And so that's where you'll see these different little pieces as we go into it. And that's why as a Commissioners Advisory Council and as the state, we do listen to you, we do hear you, and we try to help refine, but still move the pendulum on gifted education. So if you go to our interpreting the guidance of the state plan, you will find this information under instructional grouping. So I just copied the information and put it here as you go for and you look at it. So basically, this is where you're having those opportunities for instruction. So it's really looking at, for those who are building out a program that is part of your regular classroom services, and you're looking at how you're grouping your students. And this does take planning. This is not something that you can say we're going to implement in 2 weeks. This is something that you have to start thinking about now for the next school year. So when you start thinking about your instructional grouping and start planning, this is really what do we look at for those students who are going to be provided services in the upcoming school year. Some of you have that easy turnaround where you can maneuver children, but a lot it does take, you got to work with your master schedulers. So that means it has to go into training, going into teaching them, what are we looking at? What is our program services looking like? Who are those qualified teachers? Part of that is, and you can always put to the point of, if we look at funding, And as we move forward with our students, if we're putting them with our DT trained teachers and we are not training all of our teachers, these students do have to go there. But then if you're open your full spectrum of who is being trained and it's all of your teachers, then you have a open window of you have more opportunities for services. So it really has to think about what does that look like. And I'm not going to read all of this because it is available on the website. And so this is really those different pieces, looking at the opportunities that are required and then providing that grouping of students as we go forth. And then being consistent, and this is where you will see that minimum of 33% or more in the regular roster is made up of your GT peers, because as you know, we say they need to have that opportunity to work with themselves, work independently with other GT students, and then others. So thinking of that. So kind of give you a little bit more parameters there on those pieces. And I see you have some questions in the chat. So I'll get to those in 1 minute. And then I wanted to put some resources on cluster grouping for you that you can find. The first is a Google book. It will give you some sections out of that, not necessarily all, but you can find pieces there. And then the other are articles that you can pull and download. And give me 1 minute. And I put those in the chat for you. Hopefully the links will work. We'll see. You never know. Okay. Thank you, Amber, for putting the link to the guidance document. As of to later on today, Bridget, the minimum of 4, I have been on vacation since this is my first day back. I took off yesterday because I went to Houston. And so I needed a little more time. And so it will be up by the end of today, if not tomorrow. I'm just reading the chat to make sure I get questions. And yes, so my goal today is to, once we are complete with today, I will be posting all of this information for you. And it actually, and so this website, I'm sorry, thanks Amber for that mention. Once we are done, I will post the I will definitely be able to get the PowerPoint posted today, and the links do work there. So I will get that done. Right. Okay. And then actually kind of kept my question and answer in for you. And then I'm looking at Kelsey's question on what if there are less than 4 students identified for services on that campus? That's where, you know, you as the local district will make some other decisions on how your services look like. Because as I said, I understand that, you know, it will look totally different because those 4 kids in that school district of 200 or 120, you know, they might be scattered all over the place, you know, 1st grader, 5th grader, 6th grader, and 11th grader. So sometimes it's not feasible. So you really have to start looking at what does that mean for your district and what does those services look like? Now, if it was 4 in a school district of 25,000, that would be a wondering, okay? Not just understandable, but that would be a wondering. So you have to start thinking about those questions. So when you have those minimum less than 4, you're looking at a whole different opportunities, but you're still providing services in a different process. So And I'm looking. Okay, so that was the. All right, and so someone is asking for Darla and Meg if you would like to share more about your planned experiences. Darla or Mel, would you like to unmute and share?
Sure, why not? Hi, guys. So this is our first year using planned experiences, and Darla said she was piloting it with a few of her kindergarten classes. We just went all in and pushed it out to every single kinder and first grade classroom. And I had the teachers doing the planned experiences basically in the second quarter. So, you know, we have fall break in the middle of October. So once we came back from that and then until Christmas break, they just kind of tossed them in wherever they kind of organically fit. It wasn't like the teachers, you know, stopped class and was like, okay, now we're going to do this planned experience. It was more like organically built into the curriculum. And I designed the stuff that they did using the scope and sequences that they used for their different subjects, and made sure that it fit in. So like, you know, 10 black dots, the read aloud fits in really well in in the fall, because they were learning, you know, counting to 10 and counting to 20. So it just worked. And so we're doing that now. We're getting the results in now, and the teachers are using it to refer their own students for GT testing. I don't have any results yet as to whether or not it's going to make an effect or work or anything like that, but I will have that information in March when we complete our kinder and first grade identification process. But as of right now, we're still in the seeing if it works stages.
And I'll second that with Mel. I have one campus that all of my teachers were gung-ho. Once the first teacher said yes, because I knew who to approach. Once that teacher said yes, the other ones were like, well, can I do it too? Like, yeah, go for it. And then I've got one campus that if I added one more thing for them to do, it would have been a revolt. And then I had one teacher on my other campus that said, yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it. And she was so excited because the kids loved doing the planned experiences. They chose 3 to do just to see how it would go this year. But she said the discussion and watching the kids' faces when they were trying to figure out how to solve these experiences, she said it was awesome. So I have one stack over here behind me that I haven't even gone through scoring yet. But it's going to be interesting. I still have 5 classes that I'm waiting on to score, but I did go ahead. We know we've already done our screener, and I'm getting ready to start testing as soon as I get parent permission back. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how I can fit that in with our identification process, because I don't want everything just to be based on a test or 1 or 2 tests. So fortunately, I was given the okay to go ahead and do that this year, and I had some teachers that were very gung-ho and very excited to do it. So but we are using the planned experiences from Bertie Kingor's Recognizing Gifted Potential.
All right, thank you. And I think someone else, Jerry, also put in that they do planned experiences, and then if they do not agree on the scoring, then they have a third GT grades, third person, I want to say probably, grade that. All right. All right. I did go into the put the links into the chat, and then I'm going back to Monica Parkhill's question on. Sorry, there we go. Regard to grouping in a small district. So if you do a pull out and you do a multi-grade level or multi-age level program, that is okay. That is part of your design as you as a district do that. It's just looking at what are your possibilities, what are your options. and then how do you want to look at that and as you go forward. So anyone else have a question or wondering or want to share as we go forward on different pieces? I've got a question from, so I'm looking for, and I'm just going to put it out there on GT programs for bilingual program services, and how are you doing that and doing it in their native language. I will put it that way, and providing services. So if anyone out there would like to talk about their program services, and I will work with my counterparts, we will do that as a upcoming GT Tuesday, as talking about, because I know there are a couple of districts that are doing dual language GT programs, and then doing more extensive services on their GT programs for their bilingual students. So if you want to share, reach out. I'll give you ample opportunity to talk about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then how well has it been working. So I see a couple people have put things in the chat. All right. Any other questions?
Monica, I
Yes.
have a question. Can I ask on here?
Yes.
So I guess there was I don't know if it's a misconception, but we do have a pull-out GT program in our school district. However, but my understanding is that even though we have a pull-out, is that the teachers who have these students in their classroom, they should still be GT trained. Is that correct? Or does that exclude them from having to receive the GT training, the 6-hour update or 30-hour initial, if we have a pull-out program?
Okay. So it really goes back to, once again, your program planning and program design. So if you are stating that you provide only pull-out program services, and it really goes to how you define it and state it in your policy, then that is the only service venue for those, and I will say your pretty much elementary, because pretty much where you're really affecting, unless, let me take that back, because there are a few secondaries that do pull out also. So if you say they're only served through the pull-out program, then that is the only area where you're expected to have those people trained. Now, if you say pull-out with services in the regular content in the regular classroom, then you're looking at more, everyone is provided training. And so looking at that. So it really goes back to how clear is your definition. If you say pull out is one of your service options, and you have other array, and then you have other things, I will say look at making sure all of your teachers have GT training, those who are providing GT services. So if your expectation is that even though you have a pull out, that those students get some kind of service when they're back in the regular classroom, then you really need to make sure that that is clear. And then yes, they do, those regular content teachers, especially at core, need to have their 30 hours and their 6-hour updates. If everything is happening in that pull out, then your expectation should be all of those people in the pull out, and then there's a good benefit because it's a good help for those content teachers to have it, but it's not a requirement. So really look at, what does your district say?
Perfect. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And so, yeah. So on your, and I'm looking at the still into the chat, and yes. So their AP teachers are being trained, but not the dual credit. If they're not, there you go. If they're not your teachers. So if you can look at, if you have your dual credit program staff who are a part of your district staff, you can put that requirement on them. But if they are part of the university staff, sorry, but you can't do that. Do you count APSI as a yearly update for 6 hours? I will say you really need to look at that as your district as a part of, because one, they do not take APSI every year. It's not a necessary requirement. And then for some of those courses, they do not change that as an update for every year. So really think about how can you help supplement what they're doing with some of your GT strategies. So looking at that, because you do know we do allow 18 hours of that for the week long, but that's only for the APSI. So think about that as you go forth. Any shout outs, happenings that you want to share about that is going on in your district? I just, as you know, and I'm just giving you an update. My youngest nephew is a Tennessee Titan, number 62. Played the Texas Titans this weekend, so I went to the Houston game. They are the new conference American football conference South team winners, and so we are good. So on going back to Devin on the APSI. So with APSI for a 6-hour update, the question was really around a 6-hour update for every year. As I stated, all people do not always go to APSI every year. So you might not want to consider that for a year-to-year thing, but it could be your update as a local district decision. But then also looking at what can you do to supplement those secondary educators on program services around GT. So putting some of that into their requirements as we go forward. Once again, pretty soon the reading academies will be back up. I know they were they have not started a new cohort, so they're kind of wrapping up the cohort that's there and going to roll back out into it. But if you're looking for strategies, you're looking for different things for your advanced primary readers, this is a great tool. Going to be looking into how can I update this document, but this is an option out there for you. The next thing is also Texas Home Learning, which is our online platform. We're building out this as we speak throughout this year. So different things are going to be added in, making sure that it's TEKS aligned. And there are some pieces of curriculum that will be specifically designed for the state of Texas, and then some are being adapted for the state of Texas. We are looking at all pieces. I have had the pleasure of looking at K-12. No, excuse me, let me take that back. I have been looking at pre-K 12 material for all subject areas. So my eyes have seen a lot, and it's been a very interesting world working with curriculum, looking at these resources and these different platforms, and then making sure that there are some strategies and really changing some mindsets on extensions and enrichment, and that does not mean extra work. And so this is a tool that will be available that is free for your use. I'll suggest looking at it, researching it as you go forth. It is not a requirement. And then some of the material that will be there is ours as a state forever. And so, sorry about that, y'all. Once again, Project Restore. So all of the courses are available now. So these are the different ones that you may want to consider to get involved in and to review and to study. It does meet some district requirements for SB 11. So if you would like to recommend that as a session, they are about 25 to 35 minutes long. And so, as I said, it's not a hard lift. And so if there are no questions, I gotta put a question chat in there. It is, I don't even have a time anymore. 9:52, pretty much we hit our time. As I said, so I am looking for anyone with bilingual or ESL or dual language program, GT programs. I got a few I know I can reach out to share, and as you know, about what you're doing, how you're providing those services so that we can extend those across our state. And then our next meeting is, I want to say, January the 19th is our next meeting. All right. If not, have a great week. Thank you for joining me today. I hope everyone have a good day and try to stay, try to get some sun because warm up, at least in my area, it does. So thank you and have a great one.